Once there was a boy walking through a thick forest. Suddenly, he spotted a skull lying in his path. At first, he was scared, wondering if there might be any dangerous animals nearby. So, he quickly hid behind a tree to take a closer look. As he peeked out, he saw the skull and examined it carefully. Then, feeling a bit curious, he cautiously approached the skull and asked, "What brought you here?" To his surprise, the skull replied, "Talking brought me here, sir." The boy couldn't believe his ears. He was amazed that a skull could talk. Excitedly, he rushed to tell the king about this extraordinary event. When he reached the royal court, he exclaimed, "I've seen a miracle. In the forest, there's a skull that speaks." The king and all his ministers were astonished by the boy's story. They decided to go see this talking skull for themselves. So, they all set off to the forest with the boy leading the way. When they arrived at the spot, they saw the skull just as the boy had described. Curious, the boy asked the skull again, "What brought you here?" But this time, the skull remained silent. No matter how many times the boy repeated the question, the skull didn't utter a word. The king, feeling annoyed, said to the boy, "I knew all along that a skull can't talk. You have deceived us and wasted our time. Now you will be punished." He ordered his guard to behead the boy and throw his head near the silent skull. As the soldier raised his sword to cut off the boy's head, suddenly the skull burst into laughter and asked the soldier, "What brought you here?" The boy, still alive, replied to the skull, talking. The story teaches us an important lesson about honesty and jumping to conclusions too quickly. Sometimes we may encounter things that seem unbelievable or impossible, like a talking skull in the forest. However, instead of dismissing them right away, it's essential to approach them with an open mind and curiosity. The boy in the story showed courage by sharing his extraordinary experience with the king and his ministers. However, when the skull remained silent upon their arrival, they immediately assumed the boy was lying and punished him. This teaches us that rushing to judgment without considering all the possibilities can lead to misunderstandings and unfair treatment. Additionally, the story highlights the value of humility and being open to learning from unexpected experiences. Despite the initial skepticism, the laughter of the skull revealed the truth, showing that sometimes things are not as they first appear. Therefore, the moral encourages us to be honest, open-minded, and patient when faced with the unknown, as it may lead to surprising and enlightening discoveries.